Jargon. It's your boy Joe with Jargon and Caden with Cantina Talk. We're back again. This is our 21st
episode
of this podcast.
21 weeks. I don't know. It feels like it's only been like a month long. Like, I don't know. Like, it's. I know. Remember when we thought it was an end after Ahsoka? Like,
yeah, we started it for Ahsoka. And we're like, 8 weeks. We'll probably just
8 episodes, and now it's like
we're still going. We're still going, man. It's not. Can't stop. Won't stop. Tony's in the house.
Have you seen like the clip of like Tom Holland talking about like working out with Jake Gyllenhaal?
No, for what?
For Far From Home. So Tom Holland was talking about it. He's like, yeah. So like I worked out with Jake Gyllenhaal, big mistake, and was like, we run like 3.5 miles, and that was just a warm up. So they started doing like an incline, and Jake kept like making it like worse and worse and worse. And he's like, let's do 4, let's do 6 like miles or whatever. And then towards the end, he's like, you want to do 7? And I was like, dude, let's just do 9. And so that's kind of like how it feels like it does. I'm like, all right, let's just go for 100. Like, let's just
go like, for 100 episodes. And
Sandworm Tony.
This is now a half Dune discussion though today. I mean, we are
after your Dune video. I'm going to I'm genuinely going to. I think I have a Dune video that I want to make.
Good.
Yeah, like
do it. I want to see Dune content right now. It's like kind of like all my feed is basically, with a little bit of Bad Batch sprinkled in. Okay, Tony hasn't seen Dune 2 yet. Tony, we're gonna talk about Star Wars first, so no worries there. Yeah. But we are gonna talk about Dune 2, and we are gonna talk spoilers. So I understand if you want to dip and watch later or something like that. I completely get it.
Definitely, we'll give a warning too before we get into the spoiler part of Dune 2.
Yes.
We talked last week about stuff with Dune, and I kind of wanted to go back to that before we got to the spoiler stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, before we talk about the future of Dune, we'll talk about the initial stuff first. He does say he'll drop off later. So okay, good. That's a good call. But I do have some Star Wars stuff I want to share. And before we talk about Bad Batch Episode 5, this is kind of crazy, and I need to get your thoughts on it. So
okay.
You might know this and you might not know this, but the working title for the Mandalorian and Grogu, or at least the production title, is Thunder Alley. Did you know that?
No. So
okay.
So like Deadpool Bordigans, how it's like that, like out of the kitchen is like.
Yes. Or on Mando season 1 and 2 and 3, I think it was called Buccaneer or something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Tony says no. Tony says no.
He says no. No, that's not the title of the movie. That's like the production title. Like how Star Wars, which one was it? It was like Blue Harvest or something. I think it might have been the OG. It was like Blue Harvest. So sounds like a Daytona race movie. Yeah, what was Days of Thunder, the Tom Cruise movie by the Top Gun director? It's terrible.
Blue Harvest is like a Family Guy episode.
That's what they called it.
Family Guy, yeah.
Yeah, they called the Family Guy episode Blue Harvest, but it actually was a callback to like the secret name of the original production.
That almost sounds like a Dune thing, though. Like Blue Harvest, like I think like the spice.
Well, I know, but that's what it was called. So,
cool.
And I think they called Mando season 1 and 2 and 3 Buccaneer.
You said what is it now? Thunder or something?
Thunder Alley is the name that they're using for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie.
I'm so interested, like now to like what.
Well, I got it for you. I think I can. This is crazy. I'm gonna share my screen. Thunder Alley is in Legends. It's a region in space that borders along the New Republic. Several fleets rotate a patrol. And guess what? Admiral Akbar, Leia Organa, they pulled the second fleet out and replaced with the first fleet for Coruscant's defense fleet. Dude, first of all,
they're not doing that. Like, there's no shot.
Leia is in control of the defense fleet. We know this for a fact.
Yeah, because they mentioned it in Ahsoka. Yeah.
Yes, they're calling the movie Thunder Alley. We know that. We know that Mando's working with the New Republic.
That's wild, dude.
That's like the secret title. I think that's a clue as to what we're going to see in this movie. I think there's going to be a section of space, potentially, just like in Legends, that Leia might have to step in and help. or she's gonna have to pull her fleet back all the way to Coruscant because of something Thrawn's doing. So
we're already getting like the little bits and pieces of Leia from like Ahsoka. So I think that's a little like if what you're saying is true, like not saying it's not true, but like that's literally setting. Oh my god, dude! Like I'm like even more excited now because like I want to see this. Like I'm getting like goosebumps.
It is definitely Tony says correct. He is. Yes, it is. It is the secret title, the production title, and this has been reported elsewhere. So let me hit it up real quick with Thunder Alley Mandalorian. It should give me a should give me some news articles. Mandalorian Grogu get working titles. First report, Mandalorian Grogu working title. It's out there basically, but yes, the working title is Thunder Alley.
That's so cool, dude.
Yeah. So it's interesting. That's all I'm going to say. It's very interesting, and it could give us a little bit of a clue about what to expect in the movie.
I really hope that like Leia is in the movie then. Like
I do too.
Stop just referencing these characters. Show them. Like
right, recast them. I don't care. Deepfake them. I don't care.
Yeah, you've already done it once. Might as well do it again.
That's right. That's right.
Or just have her daughter come in. I guarantee her daughter would be like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I would love Billie Lourd to play Leia in live action. I think that'd be great.
She should be honoring her mom too. Like
absolutely. Realistically, to me, she's like the only one who should be doing it if they're not gonna deep fake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's the piece of information I have today. That is for you Legends fans. It is NASCAR meets Star Wars, pod racing, all of that. I don't know about that, but yeah, it's interesting tidbit. So
well, and Mando's N1 sounds like
right?
Yeah.
Like it literally sounds like a muscle car. So yeah, it is wild stuff. Well, let's talk about Bad Batch. So we haven't really talked about it, I guess, but episode 5, right? Was that the one?
Yeah. So we were entirely wrong about who the return was going to be. Like it was a return of so much other things that we didn't even think of.
Right. The return to that snow planet from season 2.
And which honestly, I feel like we should have known about the worm back in the Crosshair episode because they already went through those caverns, like, and past those sensor beacons.
Oh, yeah.
So like, why wasn't that like a thing beforehand? Especially like with the Raiders coming
fair
through,
enough
like
point, yeah.
I mean, this episode out of all the 5 that we have felt the most like a filler.
Yeah,
but it still had like a lot of character in it. If that makes sense. Like
yeah, I love.
It didn't feel like a waste of an episode, but it also felt like it could have moved along.
Yeah, it was kind of a side quest, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's still not Frog Lady or like
yeah.
season 3 Jack Black episode. It's still not like that far out there, but it's getting there.
I would agree. The character, like you said, like the character development actually was really good to me. I really liked seeing Hunter, interact with Crosshair again, and there was definitely some tension between them. They have some things to work through, but I think by the end of the episode, you kind of get to a point where like, okay, Hunter's a little bit more understanding of where Crosshair is coming from.
Yeah. Honestly, I thought they were going to I wanted to see them kind of like throw hands.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Like I really did, just like hash it out.
Yeah, yeah. That would have been nice.
Do you think that Crosshair's gonna let AZ try to fix his hands?
Because
Omega talked about it that like AZ can probably help with his hands because he's a medical droid.
I don't know if that's going to really come into play. I still think, like I've said before, I still think there's something to do with his hand and Hemlock's hand.
Like, do you think like they're like I can see like from like the same like experiment, but I don't think they're like interconnected though. Like,
no, I don't think they're interconnected. You're right. I like an experiment, or maybe Hemlock has like a degenerative disease where he's trying to use Crosshair's blood to help him. But it's just now giving Crosshair the same issue. So I don't know. There's something going on with that hand though, man. So that's an interesting.
He's clenching it just like Hemlock too, though. Too like
yeah, he like
when he like holds
it.
Like, yeah, he's doing like the like yeah. I don't know. I just feel like that line was so out there, like with the AZ thing for fixing his hand. Like I feel like they're just setting it up, like or just maybe at least like him willing to get it looked at anyway.
Yeah, and then maybe AZ would be the one to explain what's going on, or kind of,
or even, I mean, I don't know if they'll do it. It's so extreme, but like, Luke had like the mechanical hand, like the surgery and everything.
Yeah,
I could just see them doing that with Crosshair. But
just chopping off his hand and giving him a Parkinson's? I don't think it's Parkinson's.
The Star Wars, even like I said, even I guess like there's been cancer in Star Wars before, right? Or am I like?
Well,
I thought like there's like I could have swore. Okay, I don't know where I'm thinking.
Not in my knowledge. I know. I'm reading the NJO, and Mara had like a disease that was it was like bioengineered by the Yuuzhan Vong. So, and it was very similar to cancer, the way it treated her body, obviously.
Melanoma.
But they never once called it cancer.
Well, yeah, they're not going to call it cancer, but I just figured there's like some sort, like, I feel like we've seen some sort of like, something like that in the past, like with a character or something.
Yeah.
To where it's like, it's like uncurable.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm just thinking of something else, but I don't know. I always just thought like there was something, like, maybe it was in Clone Wars. I don't know. I feel like there's just one episode where it's like, I don't know. So the Landmine Hunter found in that tunnel was for the worm.
Oh, he's saying that was during the Crosshair and Mayday episode. When they found a landmine in the tunnel.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe I don't know if they thought that far ahead with the worm. Is my thing. I think like part of this is like they just kind of added it now. So
because like that's what I'm thinking. Like why wasn't this ever mentioned in the episode last season? Just because like I don't know, they walked on that patch multiple times past the beacons, not only from Crosshair in them, but also the Raiders. So I just feel like the worm would have attacked beforehand.
Yeah. I kind of think the same thing, especially because as soon as the beacons went offline, like the worm was attacking. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. That one's interesting. One thing with an issue with the hand, but he also wears a glove too. Crosshair doesn't wear a glove, right? The Hemlock does, or Crosshair does?
Well, Crosshair is now with a suit. He wasn't wearing one before, though, when they escaped.
Yeah, he wasn't when he was in the jumpsuit with the when he escaped.
Yeah, when he was in the prison on Tantus.
But Hemlock does wear gloves.
Yeah,
right?
He always has that black glove on his hand.
Yeah, wonder what's
his other hand is uncovered.
Right,
and that's what I always think. Like I'm thinking that like he has some sort of like maybe like a cleft hand or something.
Yeah,
like, his hand has to be like deformed, and that's why he's hiding it. I keep looking back at like the Princess Diaries with this like with the black glove with the 6 fingers. Like I keep looking like there has to be some sort of like genetic like something wrong with his hand why he's covering it up, to why he doesn't want it to be shown. Like,
yeah, I would think so. I mean,
say the Princess Diaries. I mean the Princess Bride. Sorry,
the Princess Bride, not the
that's
Princess
what I meant.
Diaries,
that's what
which
I meant
is
to say.
the Anne Hathaway movie. Yeah. I didn't catch that.
I just realized I was like, I said that wrong.
That's funny. Yeah, he's trying to pull a Michael Jackson on him. I don't know what he's doing, but he's got the one glove. He might just break out into a song and dance anytime.
Well, I'm also thinking too, because you remember in I think it was season 1 where it would have been season 2, I think, where Hemlock uses the gas and knocks out Crosshair, but Hemlock is still like able to like withstand it from his testing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, I don't like I mean I can't see being from that, but like he's definitely done experiments on himself before, so that's why I'm thinking like it's an experiment that went wrong with his hand.
I think so too. I also think, and this is just it's pure speculation far out, but either way, I don't think there's any way Hemlock makes it out alive from the season either.
No. Why would they need Pershing then?
Right. Hemlock's as good as dead, so whatever he has that might kill him. Someone else might kill him. I don't know. He's gone. That's all I do know. He will no longer be of use to the Empire by the end of the season.
Just as he says that he now has the full force of the Empire behind him, too.
Yeah, right. You know, he's like, oh,
Like,
dude,
yeah, all right, then.
yeah, he's going way overboard now. Way overboard.
Especially when he was like asking for that promotion, and Palpatine's like, all in due time. Like,
Right. He's like, dude,
you're
this guy's
grasping at
he's
straws.
a
Like,
goner, man. You're gone, son. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
yeah, dude. Hemlock's not making it out.
No, no. But overall, like I said, definitely a side quest episode, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing the character interactions. It's so crazy because like the way I watched Clone Wars, I never once watched it week by week. I only ever saw it once it was all out. Same with Rebels. So Bad Batch is my first animated show where I'm watching it week by week, and I think it works better when you can binge it because of these kind of episodes where it's like 20 minutes and you're not really getting the story, progressed at all.
Yeah. The only time I watched it like episode for episode was Clone Wars season 7.
Because
everything else you didn't even watch it when it was coming out then?
Nope. After.
Oh, so you didn't even have to go through like having to wait for that like.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that week was crazy for like speculation and rumors like what was gonna happen.
I believe it. I missed that shit. It's so funny because it came out like right before Mando season 2, right?
Yeah, because it was in between season 1 and season 2.
Yeah, a couple of months before. And no, I just waited. Yeah. I waited, and then I watched it all, and I was like, "Oh, that was really good."
All right, dude.
I wasn't super into the animation stuff at that time, so I was kind of just like trying to get into it. And
February 21st, 2020.
Okay, so that's quite a ways before Mando, because Mando premiered in October. So, but I think
when it ended though,
the finale was like May 4th or something like that.
Because I remember it being like a big thing.
Yeah, Tony agrees with me. Saw all the episodes at one time for Clone and Rebels. Yeah, so
that's the best way. I feel like
I agree, especially for the animated shows. I don't like for Mando and Ahsoka. Like I like the week to week because I mean you're getting a 40-minute, sometimes even longer episode, so it's like enough for that week to be like, oh yeah, now I want to see what happens next.
I don't know. If I was stuck watching Andor every single week, I would have got pissed off. Like I would have hated the show. So, and I really love the show. So, and I don't want to hate it.
Yeah, so, it helped that they released the first 3 episodes at once because I definitely, if I just watched the first episode, would have been like, "That's it? Like, what is happening in this show? Like, what's the point?"
Because when like my wife and I were watching it, look at the first episode, it was like okay, and then the second episode was like, "Dude, come on!" But we're watching it like back to back, so like it wasn't like that bad. But when like I feel like if it was episode 1, and then the next week 2, and then 3, everyone would have checked out.
Yeah, they should have released them in arcs.
Yes.
First of all, anyway, there should have been 3, 3, 3, 3, but because even like the prison arc, that was 3 episodes. We waited for that payoff, and I'll be honest, it was a little slow. Overall, though, I liked it by the time we got there. So, yeah. I mean, I would say that the animated shows, I think it works best when it's not I'm watching a 20-minute episode every week. Like I'm just not getting enough, man. I'm not getting enough what I want.
And like when Echo released on Disney Plus, they released all 5 episodes all together, which they used to do for Daredevil and stuff too.
Right.
When I watched that, because I binged all 5, like my wife and I watched them like every night, but I went and like watched them afterwards all throughout, like all together, and I kind of don't want to go back to that for live action. Like the week to week really like builds it up because like I don't know, with Echo it didn't feel the same just going straight through it. Like
I agree completely, and that's how I've always felt about these mass releases in live action. Like, you know why Game of Thrones is so popular is because every single week, like there was something fucking crazy happening, and we're like waiting to see what's going to happen next week. I mean, whereas
Mando season 2 when Grogu got snatched.
Oh my god, Mando season 2, we were just like pins and needles, man.
Like when Grogu got snatched, I was like, dude, like I need to know like what just happened to Grogu. Like I was freaking out.
I know.
Dude, like,
I hear you. I hear you. Ace, what's going on? Welcome to the chat. Thanks for joining. Dude, yeah. I mean, episodes 6, 7, and 8 of Mando, I've never probably been so eager to watch like a show like than that.
Yeah, especially like
Season 2, I'm talking, not
yeah, not 3.
Yeah,
when
or 3.
dude, I swear when Boba told Mando like when Grogu got snatched and he said that like our debt isn't paid due yet because we said like we'd have to ensure the child's safety. I was like, dude, this is like
we're getting Boba Mando team up.
Dude, I'm getting goosebumps right now just like thinking about it, dude. I'm like, dude, like
yeah, it was truly unreal. I mean, at the time, I really hope they can bring that back in some way. Allegedly, there were rumors that Ahsoka season 2 is going to go into pre-production at the end of the year, I think. So,
saw that.
Yeah. So, Ahsoka could be one of those that really gets us going with the whole Mortis gods and shit like that. I mean, it could get really interesting. So
I really hope they just announce like for season 2 we decided to recast Balin. Or well, season 2 we've decided that we can't move forward with the story without having Balin, so we have to recast.
I agree. I kind of hope they recast or they move that part of the story, the Peridia story, to animation. I wouldn't be mad at that.
I wouldn't either, but I feel like they set it up so much at the end that like obviously they didn't know to, but like they set it up so much at the end for this storyline with Balin to continue with him being like the father. So I don't know. I feel like they'd have to show it in live action for me.
I mean, I prefer live action all the time, obviously, but it's going to be weird seeing someone else fill that role because Balin was the best part of the show, in my opinion.
That's the score too. Like,
yeah, the score was great in Ahsoka overall. I mean, what a great
Kevin Conner.
Yeah, he killed it. Mecha Salesman YouTube channel has them re-edited into arcs for Clone Wars and Rebels, Mando, and Bad Batch. Interesting. I don't know how arcs would really work for Mando. I'm gonna have to check that out because I'm really interested to see that.
Yeah, I'm interested for live action. But yeah, no. Yeah. Like when Clone Wars would have like the 2 to 3 episode arc, that was the funnest part of watching it because like you were seeing it pay off. Every 3 episodes, it was like some sort of arc, and that story was contained.
Right. There's like, okay, there's a little bit of it kind of reminds me of like old like Star Trek, because occasionally you would get like 2 or 3 episode arcs, but most of the time it was 1 to 2 episodes, and you just always got a little bit of a payoff at the end, but at the same time you're like getting to know the characters so much at the same time, which is cool. So
I love what Tony just said with it raising the tension level. Like, and honestly, like, because we all know that they're gonna die, but like, it raises the stakes so much. Like, I generally I thought like maybe in that like, I don't know. There's one point where I was like, damn, are they really about to kill off Hunter? Like, I was like, is this how they're gonna do it? But it didn't happen. But I was more just like I don't know. It's so unexpected to how this is gonna happen, and it feels like I don't know. Like I'm genuinely like nervous for these characters, which is weird.
Oh yeah, I'm like I'm 100% on board with what Tony's saying here. Like the tension level of season 3 is just so high because there's a lot unknown still, and we know it's all ending this season. So it's like I'm just like, what is gonna happen now?
I do have a question though too. Like, so we know that those 3 clone cadets voiced by Gillian Dennison are on Pabu. I feel like they would have shown them. Like, I feel like they should have at least been shown in an episode, at least like in the background or something, right?
I
don't know. I just feel like with them mentioning Pabu and then going there, that like they at least would have been like at least like mentioned to Echo about, because like they have information about Hemlock. Like, I don't know. I just feel like they should have been at least like talked with.
I think we haven't seen the end of them, because
I would hope not.
Yeah, I think we haven't seen the end of them. Obviously they're not going to bring in Daniel Logan just for that little part. I feel like
it wasn't Daniel Logan.
It wasn't Daniel Logan.
It was Gillian Dennison, the guy who played in Deadpool 2. He was Fire Fist.
I swear to God, I thought I heard it was Daniel Logan that did the voice of those cadets.
I thought it was Gillian Dennison.
Now I'm just curious. Cadets.
He's also from New Zealand.
Bad Batch season. I could have sworn I thought it was Daniel Logan, but you might be right. I can't even find a freaking. I don't
Okay, I
know.
guess it is Daniel Logan. I just looked it up. It is Daniel Logan.
Ah,
Okay, yeah,
okay.
because on New Rockstars, when I watched the breakdown, they said it was Julian Dennison.
So it was Daniel Logan. Okay. I thought it was, which is kind of cool to bring back Daniel Logan, though, to do like the young clones again.
Yeah, Daniel Logan
my
mocks for
opinion.
Bad Batch Season 3. Logan plays another clone named Mox who helps Hunter and Wrecker. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So he's the
Wait,
cadet. Okay.
Hemlock's first name is Royce?
Yes.
What?
Royce Hemlock. That has been said in the show before. Jedi jump off ships better in animation. Agreed.
100%.
Ahsoka is great. Facts on Balin. Great casting. Sorry, I'm old and text types slow. Hey, no worries, Ace. You go at your own speed. And Balin was great casting. I mean, just a shame what happened to Rey. I mean,
anytime Rey's in anything, it's great.
Yeah, he is great. Oh man, what a shame.
Yeah.
All right. I would like to shift to Dune. Unless we have any more Star Wars Bad Batch tidbits to cover. I don't want to jump the gun on Dune here.
Sorry, I'm looking up this episode name real quick so we can just discuss it quickly. It's Infiltration. So, do you think that we're going back to Tantus this episode?
For episode 6?
Yeah, because it's called The Infiltration.
You know what I think they're gonna do? We saw a clip in the trailer where they were going to like a orbital base.
Yeah.
Like a space station. I think we're probably gonna hit something there because they don't know the location of Tantus yet. I think it's gonna take a couple or few episodes to learn the location, and that's probably what's gonna happen. I'm thinking in the next episode is they're gonna infiltrate some Imperial base in order to get this Tantus location or coordinates.
Honestly, my kind of question is like, I know they're kind of in a hurry, but like, why didn't they pull that off of the ship's hyperspace logs when they crashed on Lao?
The ship was offline. Remember, it went right offline, and they couldn't.
That's true. I guess I lost power.
She couldn't access it. Yeah, she.
I was just gonna think, I'm like, why didn't they just grab the hyperspace logs on Lao? But
yeah,
I guess
because
that makes sense.
She also wanted to, throw a comm relay out to Hunter, and she couldn't do that either. So
I had totally
they were kind of
that,
screwed. Yeah. Tony says Star Wars game canceled. So the FPS Mandalorian style game was allegedly canceled, but then they put out like someone who works over at Respawn did say like, oh yeah, it's unfortunate that we had the layoffs, blah, 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 but like we're still working on everything we were working on before. They didn't say Star Wars, but they like kind of alluded to like, we're still going to work on that.
If they say it's unfortunate, that like I don't know, to me that like that you're telling me that it's like it's done, but you're doing something else instead. Like you're saying that they're still like working on everything. Like,
yeah, I think they have a lot of games in the pipeline. So
because they got Eclipse and they still have Jedi 3. So
right, Jedi 3 is probably going to be like the big one. They're gonna prioritize right now.
Especially if Ahmed Best is already doing mocap and stuff. They're already in production of it.
Yeah. The game's initial announcement was just a carrot on a stick. I can pretty much agree with that. It's been a bummer when we get these announcements for awesome games like Eclipse even or this Mando
2027,
game.
Like,
it's like, is it ever really going to come out? I don't know.
Like,
13. Going back to
13. Like the fact that was almost done too.
Oh yeah, they had like a working playable demo and everything, man. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, because the Star Wars Eclipse trailer came out. Let's see here.
2020, 2021.
Yeah, so it came out December 9th, 2021. And it's 2027 at the earliest. So I feel like that's like so soon to just I don't know. I really hope Outlaws doesn't get canceled though. Or doesn't like get pushed back anymore.
I know. I want Outlaws. We just need a new game. I like the Jedi games, but we need something different. So That was the fastest announcement and cancellation in Star Wars history. Yeah, it really was. It was like 2 weeks time. All right, Ace. Let's. I got a bone to pick with you. I couldn't finish Dune 1.
Okay, I can see if you're watching it in the theater, that's fair. Just based off because it like for me it was really slow, and I know my wife fell asleep 3 times watching it in theater. So like, it was definitely slow. After I rewatched it the other day though, when I was just like at my desk watching it, it didn't feel nearly as slow. But in theaters, it felt like it was like dragging.
It's a long movie that is a lot of world building. I think we talked about this last week a little bit. It world builds a lot, and there's not a lot of progression in our characters at all.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of action. So I can understand it, but like it is integral to the full story of Dune. I will say this. Watching Dune 1 I watched Dune 1 on Friday, and Saturday I went to see Dune 2, and my God. I mean, it's crazy because you also you shouldn't. I don't know. I don't know how to put this. Like, there shouldn't be a reason I should say, like, oh, you need to see the first one in order to see the second one. But, like, that is the case here. But I also don't think it takes away from Dune 2 at all. Like,
I was going
to say that.
I don't really, I'm going to be honest, I don't really feel that way, just based off of the fact that I only saw Dune 1 once, and that was when it came out. And then I went and saw Dune 2, and, like, I remember 90% of the events from Dune 1, but when I watched it, I was like, this almost feels like a standalone movie, but it's because I also know, like, what happened prior. But
yeah,
then,
you need you just need a little bit of knowledge about it, because that's the thing. I guess you don't like have to watch Dune 1 and be like, okay, I understand this and this and this and this, like, because it is its own self-contained story, I'd say. In 2,
after seeing New Rockstar's breakdown of Dune 2, and then going and watching Dune 1, like, Paul's like almost like I don't want to say like manipulation in the movie. I don't want to spoil anything. Like,
well,
it just makes
we'll talk
more
about
sense.
Sure,
like it helps it make sense to why things are the way they are. Because I forgot like there's little points in there where I completely forgot about it for Dune 2. Like, I completely forgot about like everything with the Bene Gesserit in Dune 1. Like,
wow,
until I saw it happen.
Big stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The Bene Gesserit stuff is really, really important to the whole story. So I think that's why Dune 1 isn't necessary, but it certainly enhances.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
It certainly enhances. Lord of the Rings was slow too, but it was good like Dune. See, I think this is a great parallel. Lord of the Rings is, in the 80s they had Star Wars, and the 2000s they had Lord of the Rings. In the 2020s, we have Dune. And I'm talking about, these are artistically done. Star Wars, the original trilogy, was very artistic for its time. I mean, a lot of people compared it to an indie film when it first came out.
And that's fair, but I started watching the first, like, the actual, like, Dune movie from '84.
Yeah.
And that feels way more like an indie movie to me than A New Hope.
Really? Because David Lynch was like kind of a big name, so that's interesting.
That's the thing. Like, I thought that was gonna like captivate me, and I in the first 10 minutes, I'm like, dude, I don't really know if I want to keep watching this. I was like, I'd rather just go watch A New Hope. Like,
Dune 84 is oof.
I don't know. I just can't see Patrick Stewart as Gurney,
I know.
Especially with the like half mullet but bald on top, like the Danny DeVito from It's Always Sunny. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Let me try and play devil's advocate. Let me play the other side of this then. But we're looking at it through our lens now, right? And we're looking at it as like, oh, Star Wars like doesn't at all feel like an indie movie, but like it was so different at the time. I mean, it basically reshaped what blockbusters are. You know what I mean? That didn't, like, the summer blockbuster wasn't even really a thing in the 70s until Star Wars came out.
Okay.
I mean, Jaws a little bit, but Star Wars is like a whole different beast.
Thinking about it now, for me, with being younger, that's how I felt about Iron Man 1 when I first saw it in theaters.
I believe it.
I was like, what the hell? Like, what did I just watch? And I was just like, what is this? Like, And
I would say
like,
Marvel is that of the 2010s, except it's not a trilogy. You know, I'm comparing Lord of the Rings in the early 2000s. We have Star Wars in the 70s and 80s. 90s, hard to say because Phantom Menace didn't come out till 99, and
I'm gonna
there wasn't.
say Bad Boys for 90s. Like that's how, like I'm gonna say like a Rush Hour. I guess Rush Hour goes in the 2000s though. So
I'm talking about like a game changing, like I think those were
I
big
mean,
blockbusters. But like this is like
Jurassic
Lord of
Park.
the Rings. Jurassic Park is a great one. That's a great one. It did change movies in the 90s. It just,
I mean, the effects
and
alone.
even Lost World. Yeah, that's a great one.
Lost
Perfect.
World's my favorite by far.
I love Lost World. I love Lost World. Perfect one. Oh, so let's say 80s Star Wars, 90s J Park, 2000s you got Lord of the Rings, 2010s you got Marvel,
Yeah.
2020s we have Dune.
Yeah.
I'll stand by it, man. I'm gonna stand by it so hard. Dune is that for this generation right now. I mean, this is an epic movie. I'm like, dude, I can't say enough good things about the movie. The score, the acting, the directing, the visuals, everything was perfect, on point.
I will say, like, everything that I had gripes about from Dune 1, Dune 2 just like blew it out of the park and like made me just like be like, no, like I like that was immature thinking. Like,
Right.
Especially with like with the score too. Like it really got me into it.
Oh my dude, that
like,
Hans Zimmer score. He took it to a whole nother level.
Okay, that's like that when I first started hearing it too, it brought me back to like when I first heard like the score from The Dark Knight. Like when we first like
Yeah.
I don't know, just the first time hearing that like Batman score in The Dark Knight, like when I first saw it in theaters, like
yeah,
really,
it's pretty epic, especially during the truck or the chase scene. Yeah, that's pretty epic too. The Hans Zimmer did that one too, I think.
Yeah, and that's why I said that because like that feeling of I'm like, oh my god, like that's I don't know, like Kevin Kiner, Hans Zimmer, like Ludwig Göransson, like they're all up there, dude. Like
I know,
they're all they're all killing it.
For me, it's Ludwig, it's Hans Zimmer, and it's Nicholas Britell, Andor.
Yes,
dude, Nicholas Britell, Succession, Andor, The King.
Kevin Kiner needs his own love too, though. With
Kevin Kiner,
Ahsoka,
I need to see more live action from him, but he has done an incredible. I was very, very pleasantly surprised by Ahsoka, and I liked his score in season 7 of the Clone Wars too. It was great. Yeah,
he like with everything with Kanan and Rebels, that was all him too. So like,
oh yeah, I love.
He's done all of Rebels. Like so, like that's I don't know. Like,
yeah, I guess he's just probably not getting enough love because it's so much animation. But you make a really good point, and I think he is going to do this Dave movie, the Heir to the Empire.
Oh, he's got it.
Really hope. Yeah.
After how he killed it with, especially with like Balin's theme, like, dude, I can't wait.
I hope so. But let me back up because I want to talk a few more parallels to Star Wars before we go straight into spoilers and everything. Hans Zimmer did the score, but Greg Fraser did the cinematography, and Greg Fraser did Rogue One, and Greg Fraser was the head cinematographer for season 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian. This guy is like a sci-fi mastermind, dude. His visuals are on a whole nother level. I just think what he did on Dune 2, this isn't even a spoiler, so you guys just don't need to leave it all yet. But there's a shot in the first 10 minutes where the Harkonnens are scaling a mountain.
Oh my god, dude!
And I watched the shot, and we're 10 minutes in the movie, and I'm thinking, this is fucking 2001: Space Odyssey. That's what I'm seeing right now.
That's how I felt too. I'm like, did Stanley Kubrick just come back from the dead?
Right. Like, like that is how I felt watching that shit, and I'm like, but that's Greg Fraser, that's Denis.
When I went back and watched Dune 1, it's in the movie. It's when like,
oh really?
Yeah. So when on Arrakis, when everything is happening with House Atreides, when they're getting like ambushed, when all the Atreides guards are like pushing into the Harkonnens.
Yeah,
Behind
yeah,
them, all of the Emperor's like legion comes down
yeah.
behind them
The
slowly, and it's in the
Oh
same.
yeah, they do drop
Because
in.
when I saw
Oh,
that,
dude,
I was
yeah,
like, it's
yeah,
there. I was like, I knew I saw that before.
yeah.
When I saw
Dude.
it, yeah.
Oh man,
with the
that
blood
movie.
too, like yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it another when Dune 2 streams. Give one a go again. I mean, yeah, if you're not gonna, I really recommend seeing it in the theater, but if you're not going to, watch them back to back on streaming.
If you
That'd
could
be
see it
sick.
in theater on 70 mil, just like with
Yeah.
Oppenheimer, like that's an opportunity that I would take.
Go to IMAX. Go to
Yes.
IMAX. Ace says he'll forget the conversation though, so I guess
That's
spoilers
fair.
or anything here. For Dune, was it special effects technology we were waiting for? Was it waiting for a good director?
Honestly,
Oof.
I'd say both, but mainly a director that still keeps true to the books. Not saying that, from what I've seen anyway, that like it isn't with the first one. I'm just thinking like the effects definitely needed to be there, but Denis, I feel like really is just trying because I've seen so many interviews with him. I'm watching a ton of stuff recently. Like he's really trying to stay as close to the books as he possibly can, and make it like for
he loves the books.
yes, and I feel like he's trying to like I don't know like he's almost doing like the reverse of Dave. Like Dave is kind of like being like okay, but he's also like changing a bunch of things with him. Like he wants to keep it as real to the books as he possibly can, or as he possibly can. Except just updating a little things here and there.
Right. He wants to adapt it a little for modern audiences, which makes total sense to me. I will say this though. Think about this. Like if I don't think it's necessarily a technology thing. I do think it's a director thing because yeah, Dune 84 looked bad, but The Empire Strikes Back came out in 80 and Return of the Jedi came out in 83. And they look great, even for today's standards, in my opinion. So I think if someone like George Lucas was in control of Dune back then, we might have been focused more on the technological side of it, and it would have looked good. Now the story, that's a whole other situation on what director can be, faithful to it. David Lynch also only had, 2.5 hours to fit the whole damn book into, whereas Denis had 2 movies that were 3 hours long to do it.
Well, true. And I noticed while watching because I've watched the clips of like where like okay, so like for Dune Part 2, like where it is in the movie, and it's like a 15-minute thing, maybe 20 minutes. So I definitely feel like that's true. But at the same time, Tron came out 2 years prior and looks way worse than Dune 2. At least in my opinion.
That's
so
yeah, that's very true.
That's why I feel like that's where I feel like it still kind of is like a technology thing. Because honestly, like, Tron 2010, I thought was amazing.
Oh yeah,
but I was also that one younger too, and
I still think it's
I was 7 years old. I haven't watched it since it came out, but like,
oh my god, watch Tron, man. That's like a guilty pleasure of mine. I freaking love that movie.
I like even when it comes down to like the actor who plays the main character, like because I always look at him as Cracker Jack from Four Brothers, and I love that movie. So like. I don't know. I gotta rewatch it, and like Linkin Park 2 being like having like done the score for the movie, like
Tron. No, Daft Punk did the soundtrack for Tron Legacy.
I thought at the end of Tron, Linkin Park starts playing.
Am I wrong? Transformers. Transformers is Linkin Park.
I thought when he's leaving the arcade at the end that Linkin Park was playing.
Nope, Daft Punk did the whole entire soundtrack.
Really?
Daft Punk, man. Yeah, Daft Punk. That's one of the highlights of that is that Daft Punk did all the music for Tron Legacy. But next time you watch it, I'll say this. There are so many story beats similar to The Last Jedi in Tron Legacy. And think about that when you watch it. It's really interesting. I've always thought about making a hardcore long form video about it. But I haven't gotten around to it, honestly, because it would be a lot. So
interesting. Okay.
Just yeah, I would say give it a shot. It's on Disney Plus, and I'd love to get your thoughts on it. So
yeah, I'll let you know in a couple days. Because I'll definitely add it to the list this weekend.
Right on. Gilfi, Kingo. I don't know, man. I'm sorry. How's it going though? Hey, who controls the spice controls the universe. Disney ain't got no spice.
Honestly, I really hope with Dune 2 being as great as it is, it really lights a fire underneath Disney's ass to
I
like
hope so too.
get their shit together a little bit, because like this could ease like okay. Last week you asked me if I thought that like Dune could be like a franchise, like Star Wars and Marvel, and I said no, not necessarily. Now thinking about it, yes, but only if Denis is still in the picture. Like if he's like an executive producer, if he's still on set, especially like too if he helps with the writing, then yes. But if they just give the reins to someone else, that doesn't share the same vision, then no. I feel like he has like if they could give him all 6 books, do it for movies. But obviously he probably doesn't want to do that either. He wants to just do his 3 and get out. Which he probably wants to move on to other things.
He wants to tell Paul's story, and Paul's story, I don't know whether or not if he's going to change anything, but I'm not saying Paul dies or anything like that, but Paul's arc is complete within the next book. So they can definitely move on with new actors and, expand on the story. And there's prequel books too. I know they're not probably as well loved, but if they adapt this stuff to fit Denis' vision, like you said, I think it could be big. I mean, we're already getting the Benny Gesserit show on HBO.
Yes.
So the Sisterhood,
Denis part of that?
He's the executive producer of the show.
Exactly.
So absolutely, we're getting something.
But like that's like it's only if he is around enough to have like control during it would I say yes, just because of like I don't want it to get the J.J. Abrams treatment or like the Rian Johnson treatment to where like
you're right. Oh no.
So like
we don't want that.
You really need to like have that person like Dave Filoni, George Lucas. You need to have that person that can come and step in and understands what they want with the vision and to get it there.
If Warner Brothers is really smart here, if they play their cards right,
that's asking a lot. And I mean,
I know, but I mean, look what they did with Harry Potter. I mean, Harry Potter is super successful. I mean, maybe not
that's also in the early 2000s
stuff. Yeah, I know. I mean,
look at the animated Justice League. That was like the best animated show I've ever watched, besides Batman.
Yeah,
in the 90s.
Yeah. And they haven't been hitting it on DC lately, but they need to play their cards right with Dune. They need to be careful because they have an opportunity here to have a massive sci-fi franchise. I think.
I'll just say I got 3 minutes into the Aquaman 2 yesterday morning and I stopped. It was that bad in 3 minutes. So that's why I'm like they need to be real careful with how they do this. They have an opportunity.
And it puts the pressure on Disney, like you said. I mean, dude, it will seriously. Disney needs competition. I mean, Marvel has ruled the box office for 10 to 15 years now.
I think in the top 10 movies that were $1 billion, 7 of them are Marvel owned or Disney property.
Disney owned, yeah. So, I think you're right. And now that they own Avatar, too. I mean, it's like it's crazy. So. They're going to bank on James Cameron being their new big franchise, which he's delivering. I mean, Avatar's fun. It's cool. It's different,
But also the fact they had to make $2 billion just to break even. Like, and Bob Iger talk about these budget cuts and then needing to like spend less and make more. Like that's where, and he has 4 more movies to make. That's kind of where I'm just like, well, we're really going to see this all the way to 2030, like he has planned.
I think so, and the reason I think so is because was it 2 and 3 were filmed together.
Yeah, and they're filming 4 and 5 right now.
So a lot of that, like, it needs $2 billion to break even, includes the cost for filming 3.
And that's what I'm saying, though. Like they just barely broke even.
But they haven't even released 3 yet. When they release 3, that profit margin goes way up.
But what about the like with technology advancing? Like by the time we get to 2030, like with that, do you think it's gonna like I don't know? I could see it like not like evening out. Like they're gonna make a bunch of profit off of 3, but at the same time, like is it gonna be enough for the budget for 4, 5, and 6?
Yeah, no, you make a good point. Just because, I guess it depends on how 3 does. I mean, if 3 breaks 2 billion again, if that's the third straight movie to break 2 billion, it's no question. It's no question those movies are getting made.
I know this is really bad this time. I'm thinking it's barely going to break 750. Like it's in a struggle to get there. Like that's
man.
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I just had this weird feeling. I'm like, dude, like I feel like 3's probably going to be really good, but it's not going to like.
Everyone said the same. I'm not kidding, but I saw this all over the internet when Avatar 2 came out that this one is probably gonna be lucky to break 1 billion, dude. And it did it again, 2 billion again. I don't know, like I've thought the same thing, like, oh, it's not that popular. Like, no. Dude, don't bet against James Cameron. This guy made $2 billion on a freaking Titanic movie. Like, until he doesn't make $2 billion, I'm gonna believe he's going to. That's all I can say.
That's fair.
Like,
I'm just saying because like I don't know. Like I just
like logic goes out the window. Logic goes out the window.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like I'm trying to make it like a valid point, and I can't find one to make. So
right, because he just keeps doing it. He just keeps making $2 billion. Dude, the re-release of Titanic in 3D made like $400 million. Like,
did it actually?
Like, yes, it made I think it made over 400 million. It was like 440 or something crazy like that. So like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I just can't bet against James Cameron at all until like, but I could see Disney starting to lean into him for like, you know what I mean, for the box office stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like Disney will start like putting their hands into like the pot and start trying to like pull back a little bit. Because I mean, giving him a 6-picture deal up for that far long in advance, like they're really banking on it. And what if like with them mendling in it like affects it? That's where I'm kind of just worried. Like I'm worried about like
it always does.
All right, I guess we should go back to Dune though, since you only got a couple.
Yeah, I do. I'm gonna run out of time here, but I do want to just read these real quick. Dune was waiting for great movie rendition so that Dune fans can dump on Star Wars fans. I'm not even. I like Star Wars more than Dune. I'm just so impressed by this movie and what is to come that
I'm more impressed with Star. Like this movie is insane, but I still have more love for Star Wars just because we have so much more content of it, like years worth. We're only in 4 years in the Dune now, with 2021 and 2024, and I guess I think 3 years. So like, but okay. Also too, they started filming Dune 1 in 2019. I just found that out 2018, 2019. So they were filming this like for a while. Yeah. So I think by the time we see Messiah, it's gonna be 2028 or 7.
I'm thinking it's gonna start filming in 26. So I think you're right on the nose. Yeah. I think 27, 28, late 27, early 28, like we got for this one.
Timothy Chalamet still look the same age though. It'll be fine.
I know he still looks like a little kid.
He's 30.
TikTok, keep hitting my For You page. Sounds good. Yeah, I mean it is. Go see it. Just go see it in IMAX. HQ. What? I don't know what that is. Is this like is that a site I'm not allowed to mention on here?
Yeah, it probably is.
Better HD version of it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna
that's
Marvel hasn't been great since Infinity Saga ended, except for Loki. Yeah, it's been a few downers. That's why I think the pressure.
It's definitely been like bumpy, but I think not only will Daredevil bring it back up, but same thing with X-Men 97.
Yeah, I think those are both going to be good. I'm excited for both projects. I just don't think those are going to be great for TV.
Yeah.
What does it mean for the box office still, right? Like that's where the question I think remains for Marvel, because they ruled the box office for the past 10, 12 years.
I think if they just screw all these other like besides like certain shows, like the ones that are actually important for like building like street level stuff, I think they just need to go straight to Secret Wars. Like have one movie and then bring us right to Secret Wars. Because like Fantastic Four, like have that movie come out and after that movie go straight to Secret Wars.
Because if not, think the same thing. If Fantastic Four is good,
people are out.
Yeah. Because you're going to get Deadpool, which should be good, hopefully. Yes. And then Fantastic Four, if that's good, you could just jump right into some big event. And
I feel like you have to keep that audience and to like show that like Marvel not only has learned from their mistakes, but also can still make good content and get people back in the theaters.
Because Bob Iger can't get another Marvels.
Yeah, Bob Iger said
on 3.
Said he's like, people, especially with Dune now, like people will come back to the theaters if they know it's worth it and they know it's good enough. So they need to get to that instead of just putting out these other properties of Marvel. Like,
yeah,
like they don't really need to do the Young Avengers. No one's gonna go see that. It's gonna be the Marvels all over again. Would I like to see it? Sure, I would love to see it, but
make it a Disney Plus exclusive.
Yeah, make it a Marvel presentation, just like Werewolf by Night. I dug the new Avatar. I haven't seen it, but I did see that got renewed for 2 new seasons to do a Book of Water and Book of Earth, like Earthbending.
Yeah, so that's kind of my buy-in to watch it. I probably will watch it. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
I'm also too. I don't know if you know this. Dave Filoni was huge with Avatar, Last Airbender.
Yeah,
that's where he got his start.
He was. That's where he got his animation start. Absolutely. Marvel's so bad that Sam Jackson wants to jump off and go back to Star Wars. I know, and we want him to. We want him back as a clone.
And the fact that like he keeps like the Empire magazine photos.
Yeah,
of his lightsaber.
Cool,
like
man.
Sam's like he's trying like his hardest like to sink his claws in it.
He wants it, man. He wants it.
Ace was perfect on this. Tarantino films did it in the 90s. That's exactly right.
Yeah, they really did. All right, so let's talk about Tarantino's always been a freaking making hits, dude. In 2000s, 2010s, it doesn't matter.
Inglourious Bastards, Reservoir Dogs, Kill Bill.
All right, I'm running short on time here, so we are going to talk Dune. Spoilers. I'm gonna jump right to the end of the movie here, guys. Yeah. So just drop off if you don't want to hear anything.
5, 4,
and we're good.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
So
I'm leaving. Bye. See Tony.
First of all, Paul, dude, he's like this. Like we don't know if he's supposed to be good or bad. I think by the end of this movie, what were your impressions of Paul at the end of the movie? Were you just like, yeah, I'm rooting for this guy, like go win this fucking war, or were you like, oh shit, this guy's like crazy now?
I'd say anti-hero. He's doing it for the right reasons, but he doesn't have. He has ulterior motives for his own like way of getting things to though. Like I really feel like we're gonna go back to Caladan and we're gonna see the Furmen on Caladan, and there's gonna be a war there, just like the Vision in Dune 1.
Sure.
When
I agree,
but I feel like that's gonna be towards the end of Messiah, after everything with Florence Pugh is done.
See,
because I also got spoiled too that Paul has a kid. So
let's back it up here. So Paul's son was supposed to be in this movie, man. He's not. Was he? Yes, he's born during Dune, not during Messiah. And another spoiler, because I don't think they're going there, because obviously Chani has now kind of kept her distance. I mean, this is Chani's kid, dude. It's not. Florence
I was just about to say. Do you think from Paul and Chani and two that's how his son is going to come through, like how that's not like going to come about is through Chani, with their scene that they had.
Oh, it would be a good way to bring Chani back to him because, I don't know if you've watched all of 84 Dune, which is a little bit more accurate in the end towards the books than Villeneuve's, but he wanted to lean into the anti-hero thing, like you said, a little bit more, I think, which is what Herbert intended for. So Chani totally is understanding like immediately at the end of Dune 84 and at the end of the book of like, oh, like you're going to marry her. Like, I understand that because you need to become the emperor basically. And she's like, I'm still going to stick by your side. And this one, she's like, F that. Like, I'm gone.
Well, I think it's because Paul didn't tell her his plan. But
right.
Also too,
which he does in the book.
But also though, like, okay, so when Paul earlier in the movie was like, what do you guys call the small moon again? He heard that from the holo recordings in Dune 1. So he already he knew this stuff ahead of time, but he was trying to act like he did like the Sandwalk. Like he knew about this stuff ahead of time. And I feel like he's playing them a little bit. Like he still obviously is trying and he's feeling for them, but he's also like playing with them and like almost like how the Bene Gesserit planted the Lisan al-Gaib. Like it's like he's also planting his own seeds in here to make it to like for him to become the chosen one.
Yeah, see, it's tough, man, because like I agree to a certain point. I like before he drank the water of life. I think he really wasn't trying to be the chosen one. I feel like he was
No.
like, nah, like that's just bullshit. Like you guys don't need to listen to that. But like once he drank the water of life, he's like, there's only one way for this all to like end. And I need to like lean into it. So I do agree at that point, he's like, I am the chosen one. Like, look, I'm gonna show you why and all this stuff. He's like telling them their dreams and shit.
But also too though, like that, like even with him drinking the water, like that switch was so strong, and I feel like I don't know. After he like snapped at his mom in the first movie when he used the voice on her in the tent, like
when he had the visions, yeah,
like he didn't want to believe it, but then he got to the point like when he drank the water that where he's like, this is what I have to do. Like when Oscar Isaac said that like I've had to find my own way to it, being the leader.
yeah,
That's what he like. After that was like his way, and Paul even said him too. Like he's not scared of being in power. He's scared of the control that he has when he gets it. Like he's scared of like how much control he will have when he has
knows,
the power.
yeah, because he tells Gurney that. Yeah,
Yes,
that's a good point. I definitely see him as like an Anakin type character, man. Like we love Anakin, right?
I'd say Anakin, but
we love
smarter.
Vader too,
like not as clouded as Anakin though.
Well, yeah, because Anakin's visions of the future are very clouded, like you said. Like he doesn't really know exactly how it's going to go down, whereas Paul can see all the different scenarios, and he knows which one he needs to take. But unfortunately, he's going to burn some bridges doing that, and he's going to be made to look like a bad guy during some of that. So,
and I also feel like too, like those visions aren't actually like what's going to happen. Like, because with the vision of Paul fighting on Arrakis in Dune 1, it was him. But when it happened in the movie, it was Chani in 2.
Chani.
So
right.
I feel like we're going to see the war in Caladan, definitely. But I also feel like it's going to be different than what we've seen.
Chani might not be there.
That's what I'm saying. Know. Like I think it might be Florence Pugh that's there instead. But just because like these visions keep changing, like I don't. Okay, it might not be like Florence. It could be Chani. Like it could be anyone. But I'm saying like because Paul keeps seeing these visions going this one way, and he keeps changing the outcome. He's changed the outcome twice now of these visions. First one in Dune 1 where he's supposed to die to Giannis.
Right. Well, we're just seeing versions of the future. We're not seeing every single vision that he has, because like that's what's happening in Dune though. He has like, dude, this guy can see 100 different paths at once, and we're just seeing only a few of them. But we're not seeing the ones that are coming true until it actually happens, basically.
And that's what I'm thinking. Like so like to like where like he's seeing like okay, so like he like where he thought like he was gonna like he should have died to Giannis, but he didn't, because like he knew it was gonna happen. So like with these like I think he's taking the right steps because he know like in Infinity War when Doctor Strange like, looks at all the outcomes and he knows like what has to happen and what like that he has to die for these things to happen. I feel like that's what Paul is doing with everything for his sister. Like he knows these paths when he's talking and communicating with her. Like he knows like from her anyway, like he knows the paths that he needs to take and like what routes to go and stuff with that. Which I gotta say also too, Anya Taylor-Joy for like leading like the sequel franchise was perfect. I feel like
I do too. So like after Messiah though, because she would be way too old to be playing his sister in the next movie. I think, you know, because they didn't. What's her name? Elia or something? Yeah, Elia. She wasn't born in Dune in this movie, but she is in the books. She's alive. She's like 3 years old by the end of the books. So they definitely sped up the timeline a little bit here and condensed it down, which I actually think worked better than having a little 3-year-old run around, like they did in Dune 84. Like it was ridiculous.
I feel like it works. Like it works with us because we know where the end game is.
Yeah,
because we see that Arrakis will get back to how it like the glory days, so to speak.
Yeah, the greening as what they call it. So like that's what they want to lead him to paradise, man. I'm like,
and we saw in Dune 1 too that like it is possible. They were already doing it at that little outpost that they had.
Yeah, that was the eco center. Yep.
Yeah. So like they know it's possible, and I think Paul like was going to lead them there, and they don't wait. And like you said it too when we talked about DMs, like he's going to come back and still honor them in the end, and still make sure everything was right in the end. But he has to go down this dark path first.
Yeah.
To get to there.
Exactly. He has to honor them in the end, or else this whole thing is like just fucking terrible.
He's in his
I'm gonna be like, no, right? Exactly. I think, that's why I really want to see Chani get back with him, because that's how, you know, they're supposed to be.
I feel like that's gonna happen. Like,
you made a good point though. If she is pregnant, sorry, 1 second. I am gonna have to dip off here in a second.
You're good.
But if she is pregnant, then
I honestly feel like she is, just based off of like.
I kind of think so too.
It
now
felt
you're
like
convincing me.
It felt out of place, if that makes sense. But like out of place, but it meant to be there. But it was like they didn't have to just show us that for just to show us the sex scene. Like I feel like they showed us that because like it's gonna come back in the future. Just like how the Benny Gesserit,
might be right.
After Paul's mother drank the water and they started like, we made a mistake, she's pregnant. Like they knew instantly when they're transferring the life force over. Like they instantly knew, like, oh shit. Like I feel like that's how like Paul's gonna figure out. I was like, oh shit, she's pregnant.
Yeah, I mean, I also think it gives them a reason to come back together, right?
Yeah.
So
brings the story back together. Yeah,
it'd be cool. But let's talk about it more next week. I actually, you know, I have a lot more to talk about on Dune side.
Me too.
Everyone, thanks for joining today. I do have to get out of here, but we'll have Bad Batch episode 6 next week, and a little bit more on the Dune 2 talk, I think. So
sounds good.
Yeah.
See you after the infiltration.
Right on. See you guys.